There was a man named Richard. He lived a comfortable life, had a decent job, and people around him respected him. But Richard had one problem. He didn't trust anyone. He believed every person was the same. Au said, Tosai people are selfish. Everyone lies, everyone cheats. No one is truly honest anymore. He repeated this so many times that it started feeling like a truth in his mind. One evening, Richard was driving home after work when his car suddenly broke down in the middle of the road. It wasn't a busy highway. It was one of those quiet streets where you don't see many people. Richard checked the engine, tried restarting the car again and again. Nothing worked. His phone battery was also low. And to make things worse, it started getting dark. Richard stood there frustrated, thinking, of course, this happens to me, and no one will help. A few minutes later, a man walking down the street noticed him. The man looked simple and humble. His name was Michael. Michael came closer and said politely, Hey, are you okay? Need a hand? Richard looked at him suspiciously. No, I'm fine. But Richard wasn't fine, and Michael could see that. So Michael smiled and said, It's getting late. Let me at least check. Maybe it's something small. Richard didn't want help, but he had no choice. Michael opened the hood, took a quick look, and said, Looks like your battery connection is loose. Give me 2 minutes. Michael fixed it. Richard tried the ignition again, and the car started immediately. Richard was shocked. He didn't expect a stranger to help that easy without asking for anything. Richard was about to say thank you when Michael stepped back and said, You should be good now. Drive safe. Richard quickly asked, Wait, how much do I owe you? Michael smiled. Nothing. It's okay. Just help someone else someday. And before Richard could say anything more, Michael started walking away. Richard sat in his car quietly. His mind was confused because this didn't match his belief. He always said no one was honest. But this man helped him for free. No greed, no drama, no selfish reason. Whose kindness? The next day Richard couldn't stop thinking about it. He told his coworker about what happened and said, Maybe that guy was acting. Maybe he wanted something later. His coworker laughed. Not everyone is fake, Richard. But Richard wasn't ready to accept it. Still, something inside him had changed. A week later, Richard was leaving a grocery store when he saw an elderly woman struggling with heavy bags near the parking lot. People walked past her like she wasn't even there. Richard hesitated. He almost ignored her too. But then he remembered Michael's words. Just help someone else someday. Richard walked toward the woman and said, Ma'am, can I help you? The woman looked relieved. Oh, thank you, son. My hands are shaking. Richard carried her bags to her car and placed them inside carefully. The woman smiled warmly. You're a good man. I didn't think anyone would stop. Richard stood there quietly, and for the first time in a long time, he felt something real. Not pride, peace. That night, Richard sat alone and thought deeply. He realized he had spent years hating people, judging everyone, without giving anyone a chance. Yes, there are bad people in the world. Yes, some people lie. Some people cheat. But not everyone is the same. Because if everyone was dishonest, then a stranger like Michael would never have helped him. And that elderly woman would have been left alone. Richard finally understood something very important. When you believe everyone is bad, you stop seeing the good. But when you allow yourself to believe that good people still exist, you start becoming one of them. And that's when life begins to feel different. So remember, not everyone is dishonest, not everyone is selfish, and not everyone is your enemy. Sometimes, the world doesn't need more suspicion. It needs more kindness.